Guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we'll be retouching this wonderful image. This image is shot by your one and only boy, that is me, FWG photography. So I'm done with the raw conversion in capture one. So this is the output of the raw conversion. So I'll go into the retouching in proper now. Alright, welcome back. Now, the first thing we'll be doing on this image is that we'll be removing the blemishes on this image. I emphasized this in my last tutorial. There are several tools you can use for your blemish remover. There's the healing brush, the spot healing brush, the patch tool. And I make use of the healing brush because of the textures on the model skin. I want to preserve a lot of textures on the model skin. That's why I use the healing brush. Make sure you are on sample, current and below. Make sure your brush is a soft round brush, so reduce the hardness to 0 and come down here, create a new layer, Ctrl Shift N. Then we can name this clean. All right, now we have taken our brush, our healing brush. Now let's start removing the blemishes. Just paint, sample near the blemish, then paint over. It's as simple as that. Sample near the blemish, then paint over the blemish. Alright, this is a blemish here. Let me just paint over. And when you are removing your blemishes, make sure you are also paying attention to the textures. Don't remove those textures off the model's face. Make sure you are careful when removing your blemishes, because sometimes I see when photographers are removing their blemishes, most times they remove textures off the face also. No, that's not how you do your blemish remover. You are removing just those blemishes that won't allow your retouching come out really nice. I hope you understand. So we are just removing. Okay, I think this place is not looking too nice, so we can just increase the size and paint over. Just try. Let me use the patch tool. Probably patch tool will do. Just circle. Then let me take the background. Then let's drag. Try here. Alright. Okay, wait. Before I do that, let me just clean this up with the eraser. Then I just clean up my effect here. Okay, take my patch tool, then circle over the blemish, then drag. Alright, and try and drag towards the side. Okay, I think this is the best side. Try here also, just drag it down. Alright, don't worry about if it's looking as if it's too bright. We balance that up with the dodge and burn. So let me go back to my healing brush and let's continue removing. And also you can use a help layer here so as to see much more blemish. Then I'll show you how you can use a help layer to help your blemish removal process when I'm done with this one. Okay, this is before, after. Let me just show you the before and after of this. There's still a lot of blemish. Okay, let me still remove a bit more. These tiny hairs, we can just remove them. Okay, just remove this hair. There's still a lot of seemingly blemishes on this model's face, but we can adjust all these with our dodge and burn. Just show you before, after, before, after. Let me just zoom in. Before, after. Okay, the model skin is still not looking really nice, so let me just show you. Come down to your curves, then you can just bring this up, bring this down, all right, to just create a bit of contrast on the model's face. Okay, then come down to your background color here, background, then you can just start removing again. This time let's try the clone stamp. Probably we can use the clone stamp in removing this. Just make it current and below, then paint near, reduce your clone stamp very well. Then you can just, okay, on the clean layer, let's create a new one, a new layer for the clone stamp. Clone stamp clean. Okay, then sample near the blemish, then paint over. Alright, I hope you understand what I'm doing. Sample next, then just paint over like this, as if you are brushing over the blemish. So let me just show you what we have done on this image. Let me put these two in a group. Let's name this clean. Okay, so now this is before. I hope you're seeing this is before, this is after, before, after, before, after. Okay, this is before and this is after. So let me off the help layer, which is the curve we made. Okay, now just delete this, we're not using it anymore. So this is before, this is after. Now the next step on this image is to crop our image, and we'll be using Instagram official size in cropping our image, which is come down to your crop tool here. Make sure you're clicking on 4x5, 8 to 10 inches. I explained this in my last video. When you use this to crop your image, it prevents Instagram from reducing the quality of your image when you upload onto Instagram. Okay, I think we are good to go. Let me just crop it up a bit. Alright, I think this is okay. Alright, I think this side is a bit much, so let me just bring it and bring this up a bit. Okay, just a bit more. Alright, I think we are good to go. Okay, I don't want the hand to show, so I don't want to have problem with the hand. Okay, so just make sure your model is in the center when cropping. Alright, okay, I think we are good to go now. Now we're moving over to the next step, which is the micro dodge and burn. Now we'll be creating a new curve. Come down to your adjustment panel here, just click on it, then click on curves. Then I'm just going to bring this up a bit, just a bit. Then name this dodge. Then then select inverse, Control I, and come down to your curves again, bring it down a bit. Alright, and we'll name this bone, then select inverse, Control I. Alright, now the next step is we are going to be creating an help layer. The first thing is to create an empty layer. Alright, come down to edit, come down to fill, come down to content, and come down to 50% gray, then OK. Alright, come down to your blending mode here, come down to colors, then after you're done with that, you come down to your adjustment panel, come down to the curves again, bring this up, bring this down. So we are creating a bit of contrast on the image so as to see those places you have to work on. Alright, I think you're good to go. Let's just bring this down a bit. Okay, now let's put these two in a group and let's name this help layer. Alright, let's put the dodge and burn also in a group. Let's name this dodge and burn. Alright, now pick your brush tool and make sure you are using the soft, round, pressure, opacity, and flow. Then make sure your hardness is on 0. Make sure your opacity is 20, your flow is 20. Just redo it again, flow 20, and make sure your smoothing is 0. Yes, make sure your smoothing is 0. And probably if you are using a Photoshop that is lesser than 2020, you may not see this brush there, so you can just come down to your round, soft round brush, then come to your brush settings here, just click on this, and you can just click on this shape dynamics and click on the transfer. So it's the same thing as that brush. Okay, so I'll just be using the one I selected initially, which is the soft round, pressure, opacity, and flow. Okay, now click on your dodge. We have taken our brush, then let's start the retouching in proper. Now I've seen this part of the image seems a bit dark. Let me just explain. See, this place seems a bit dark. See, this place seems a bit dark. So let me explain something. When you look at the face of this model, you notice that this is the highlight, and in the highlight you don't want to see this dark spot, this dark patch there. So you know you have to remove this. You understand? You have to remove this. So when you see a dark patch in a place that ought to be bright, you use the dodge. When you see a bright spot in a place that ought to be dark, you use the burn. It's as simple as that. So let's just dive into the process. I don't want to make this video too long. And when you notice your strokes are too heavy, you can just reduce the opacity of the brush. So just paint over. As you can see, this is a bit dark. Just paint over, just a bit. I'm seeing a dark spot here. Just paint over. Just paint, right? So I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm going to speed up this process. So meet me when I'm done with this. When there is an update, I'm going to reduce the speed and let you know. Okay. Okay, let me just show you the before and after of everything I'm doing. Okay, so now this is before. Okay, let me start from here. This is before, as you can see, and this is after. Before, after, before, after. Now the next step is you're going to be doing a bit of work, but before going into frequency separation, I'm going to add a bit of technique to my micro dodge and burn. So I'll be adding the inverted high pass. So now come down to my panels. So I'm going to be using the pro workflow. Just cancel. Okay, come down here. So pro workflow. All right. Sorry, I'm going to drag in the action. So let me just go down. Okay. Then I'm going to click on this IHP. It's going to load the action for me. Now I'm going to just increase this to around 10. Okay. Then it's okay. Continue. Then I don't want it to look too smooth, so let me look 6. Okay, 6 is okay. I think 6 is okay. Let me try 5, 6. Okay, let's try 6. Okay, now wait, let me delete this and let me redo this again. I think I should use 15. Determine the radius I'll be using. I will look at the model scale. So the radius you choose, that you notice that you can still see a bit of textures on the model scale. You look from air, not actually air. So when you see that you are satisfied with the textures, then you can go ahead. So 15 is okay. Then you're gonna use this to bring back the textures on the model's face. So just let me put this at 8. So 8 is okay. Then okay. All right, stop. Then take your brush. Make sure your opacity is on 100 and your flow is on 50. Okay, now let's just start blending those areas we were unable to blend when doing the micro dodge and burn. Okay, now let's go into the frequency separation. Now I'll be creating a new layer, but because of time, I'll just be using my panel here. Just click on resurface. Then I'm going to zoom in. So I've explained this, how you can get your radius in Photoshop if you want to do your frequency separation. So the radius, you drag the radius onto you can't really see multiple textures on the model's face, so just drag it back a bit. So I think, let me just zoom out. So I think I can't see much textures again on the model's face, as you can see. So 8 is okay. Just click on it and it's gonna load it out. Now this is your texture. You want to turn it off. Click on your lower frequency. Come down here, click on the mixer brush. Make sure this is not clicked, so release it and make sure your weight is on 20, your load is on 20, your mix is on 20, and your flow is on 30. And make sure this circle stuff, make sure it's 0. You don't need it. That's smoothing, you don't need it. Now let's start our frequency separation. just, you can see there's a lot of textures on the model's face. We didn't destroy any textures. So this is before, this is after. Let me show you before, after, before, after. Now the next step of this tutorial is that we're going to be working with the hairs. After we are done with the hair, we're going to do the global dodge and burn. So let's just move on to the next step. Let me just close this up, create a new layer, then take your clone stamp, make sure it's current and below. Then I'm going to be shaping the hair. Alright, so I'm done removing selecting the image. So let me just select inverse. For that, just make a stamp visible layer, Ctrl Shift Alt E, then duplicate it. So I've removed the image from the background. Now I'm just going to create a new layer, Ctrl Shift N, then I'm going to sample the color of this background, right, and just fill it into this. Alright, so as you can see, those tiny spots on the image. Before that, notice it looks too sharp, so let me just give it a bit of feather. So let me just give the feather and one. Okay, then let's duplicate this again, create a new layer, bring it down, then let's just fill the background. Okay, I think this is better. Alright, so let me just show you the before and after of this. So this is before. As you can see all these tiny hairs, so we have gotten rid of them. So the next step is just to clean up this other hair, and you can do that using the spot healing brush. Now just paint. Right, just paint over this. It's gonna remove it automatically. Just paint like this. Okay, so just take my time doing this. I'm gonna follow this place again. So okay, so let me just show you. We are still in the process. So this is, let me put this all in a group. Let me put this all in a group. Just Ctrl G. Alright, just off this. Let me just put this in a group also. Turn it off. Okay, now this is before, after, before, after, before, after. Now we are moving forward and should be done with this tutorial. And I just noticed something on this image. We can add a bit of makeup to this image. So I'm using my MUA retouch panel. If you need this retouching panel, the link is in the description. Yes, the link is in the description. I'm going to drop it in the description. So I'll be dropping this panel in the description, so you can just download it. So because I'm giving this out, please and please guys, subscribe to this channel. That's the only thank you can give to me by giving this out. Please subscribe to my channel, smash the like button, share to your friends, and yes, you're gonna be seeing more of these kinds of tutorials. Now click on your more panel, then you come down to the lipstick. Now come down there, turn this off, this one, adjust shadow, turn it off, click on this color, then pick the color of your model's lipstick, then make sure your opacity is on 100, your flow is on 100, then you can start to paint on the lips. And I can see a line here, I don't like it too much, so I'm gonna remove it. And further, let me just paint on the lips. As you can see, the lips looks shiny and better. Okay, so this is better. Alright, so it looks too much, so I don't want it to be too much, so I reduce the opacity. So around 45 is okay. So this is before, after. 45 is okay, before and after. Now the next step is that we're gonna do a bit of stuff to the eyes also. Before that, let's just work on the shadows. I'm on the eyeshadow, so click on eyeshadow. Alright, click on this color. Click on this color and pick it. Alright, then we can click on darken eyeshadow, lighten eyeshadow. So you can follow along since the panel will be available in the description. Then we just reduce the flow and opacity. I don't want the effect to be too much. Then just paint like this. Alright, just before, after, just reduce it a bit. Don't want the effect to be too much. Now the next step is we're going to be adjusting the eyes of the model. Now come down to your pro workflow, then come down to beauty. And before that, you can even use the portrait, then enhance eyes, continue, stop. Alright, so brighten eyes, so flow 100, opacity 100, then just start painting. Start painting into the eyes, so it's gonna make, you can see the eyes is a bit white, it's whiter, and as you can see, so alright, so this is the eyes. Now we're gonna go into iris sparkle. I'm gonna paint into the iris, so I'm gonna give the iris a bit of dramatic look, as you can see. So just paint into this line. As you can see, it looks really dramatic. Alright, so what next? The next step of this tutorial is we're going to be giving this image a bit of dimension. So we're doing a global dodge and burn. So now just let me come down to my extension. I'm going to be using my RA. So just click on the burn, dodge and burn. Alright, so let me just put this in a group and name this global D and B. Alright, so let me put all this into a group also. Okay, let me put this in a group and let me just name this make up. Alright, so now come down to your dodge. Before that, let's go to burn. Your flow, make sure it's on 20 as usual. Then your opacity, make sure it's on 10, so that we can keep scrubbing until we see the effect. So now the first step is that you're going to darken up here like this. As you can see, the brush is not too wide because this part will look a bit darker but not as dark as the upper region. So let me just show you what I mean. So I'm going to increase the size of the brush now, then paint a bit. I hope you understand. So this is the place that is very dark on the nose. Then it's become lighter as it's coming down. I hope you understand that. So just bring that, then you can just do this to make it all right. So now this place looks dark too, but before that, here will be very dark. Then you can just make this subtle, yeah, very dark, then subtle. I hope you understand. Okay, then here, just scrub until you can see the effect. This place is a bit dark. This place ought to be dark also. This place ought to be dark. Okay, so now come down to your body. Then this place ought to be dark because there's a bone here. So there's a bone here, darken it. There's a bone here, darken. This ought to be dark, darken this place also. Then we can start working on the dodge. This place ought to be bright. 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 So we are just enhancing those areas that have to be bright. So on the skin also, I'm not doing much work because I think this place are already bright enough. So I don't want to make lines on the model's face. So let me just show you before and after. So let me do a bit of works here. Okay. So make this place dark a bit. Now, the next step of this tutorial is that I'm gonna use my color grading, my color loots. So I used that loot on almost all my images. So just come down here. I'm gonna click on Cool Blue FWG. You can see. So just reduce the opacity. So I think 40 looks good. 40 looks good. Now, so let me show you from beginning to the end. Let me just put this in a group. Let me just call this color grade. All right. So all this in a group. Let me just put all of this in a group and group them. Let me call this retouching. So this is before, as you can see. This is after. This is before, this is after. So please, if you have obtained value from this tutorial, please smash the like button, subscribe to my channel, and yes, see you next time.